Project Sapient is a podcast meant to engage our brothers and sisters in the law enforcement and military communities in conversations that we all know we need to have. All opinions you'll hear are our own, are protected by our First Amendment of the United States Constitution, and in no way reflect or are meant to reflect the opinion of any specific agency, officer, or service member. Some opinions may be controversial. Listener discretion is advised. Enjoy. What's up, guys? Project Sapient. Say hi, Ayman.
Hello, hello.
Listen, awesome stats, awesome reviews, awesome comments. We have awesome supporters that are now starting to support the podcast. Havoc Journal.
Yep.
HavocJournal.com. LiveBoston617.org.
Yep.
They're all over Facebook. They're starting to support us. Gym Junkies. What's the Gym Junkies website?
GymJunkies.com.
And they're on IG and everything.
Oh, yeah,
right?
they're on everything. Dude,
everybody, thank you so much for listening. We have a really cool episode coming up. We know this episode is near and dear to everybody's heart. Nobody's been able to get away from this bullshit.
Yep.
It's all about COVID-19.
Yep.
We're not going to preach to you. We're not going to pretend we're scientists. We're not going to do any of that bullshit. But we are going to go through the issues that we've been having, that we've been seeing from the law enforcement perspective.
Yes. And it's an article that actually got published January 4th, 2021. My first article of the year.
Who's this asshole? Ayman
Kafel? Something like that. I don't know. I've been plagiarizing his work. So.
Lawsuit.
Yeah, right. So we had COVID-19, what was it? Maybe late February, early March before we really hit.
Somewhere there.
Yeah. So it shut down the world. Businesses were closed, lives were lost. One thing that didn't change though is the bad guys we deal with.
The assholes.
And I'm not talking about freaking soccer mom or dad driving home and speeding. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about hardened fucking felons that used it to their absolute advantage to do what they need to do, because guess what? No one was out.
I'm sure they saw it. So there must have been like a level of fear on them, because in the beginning, nobody knew what the fuck was going on. Yeah. Right. And I have certain opinions about COVID. You have certain opinions about COVID. But in the beginning, we were all kind of like, fuck, is this it?
Yep.
Like, is it coming? Is it the fucking continuation of government shit that we've done?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What's next?
Yeah, exactly.
So there must have been a little level in the criminal mindset that they were like, okay, should we break into this house?
Yeah.
But 90% of them were probably like, fucking, we don't care. Let's break into the cars. Let's do this and that.
Yeah, they did. I think the first week was the quietest we've ever had as a city cop.
Yeah.
Where the radios weren't fucking going crazy, 911 calls over and over again. I think the first week was the quietest that I've seen, especially a city cop. You're like, what the fuck's going on in the city? But shortly after that, everything started skyrocketing,
So I don't know about you in your city, but with me, I'm in a slower part of my city, slower, quote unquote, right? Yeah. And our domestics started going through the roof.
Yeah, it was same thing with us. So after that first week, I started to notice the domestics going up because everyone's at home living together.
Right.
And
getting on each other's nerves. And all of a sudden, if you breathe the wrong way, your significant other either kicks you or punches you in the face. See, that's how it is for me on a normal fucking day, non-COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's like I'd hear what did you say? And I didn't say anything.
Yeah, exactly. Start hearing things all of a sudden. Who touched the thermostat?
Yeah,
I know someone did.
Yeah.
So again, it was around February. Politicians allowed for only essential stores and personnel to be out. And what did they also label as essential?
Liquor stores.
I was like, all right, in what is being called the deadliest virus in modern history, why the hell are liquor stores allowed to stay open? I get it. People want to drink and whatever. But here's the thing. If it was a true 100% deadliest virus in modern history, nothing would be open.
Well, this thing is so fucking double-edged, right? Because, again, we still don't know all the facts.
No, we still.
All these quote-unquote experts have come to be not really experts.
No.
Right?
I love the Facebook experts. They're my favorite.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to defend them, but no matter what kind of information you see coming out, there's always some kind of information that can destroy that information.
Oh, yeah, counter.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, so it leads me to get a little jaded towards the medical profession. I'm not saying I don't like the medical profession.
Yeah.
I love our nurses. I love our doctors. Thank you for everything that you've done for us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But there's so much disinformation out there.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That we don't know who to believe.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, when you saw it, you'd be driving around as an essential. You're going to work, and you see the line at fucking Starbucks down the street.
Yeah, exactly. Really, you're concerned about your Starbucks?
but think about the mentality behind that, right? Like, oh my God, we're quarantining, we're staying home, but let's go sit at Starbucks.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to Starbucks, get our Java.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But same thing with the liquor stores.
Yeah. Stand in line, buy your booze or whatever. So you know, the joke around us is law enforcement is you don't get Corona in liquor stores. Corona knows that. Or when the curfew started, Corona knows that you can't be out past 10 p.m. So
yeah, it's 9:30 to start running home.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, it became sort of a running joke around law enforcement because here's the thing, most cops have a pretty dark sense of humor just because of what we deal with. So we make light on almost everything.
Yeah.
You know? So our concerns weren't so much just the virus. Our concerns became the rising of crime and domestics and all kinds of stuff going on while certain politicians were more concerned about setting unconstitutional rules on everybody in the United States.
The one thing that they didn't realize when they were doing this shit was that a lot of people are aware of their rights.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We can get into an 2-hour-long debate about what's constitutional, what isn't.
Yeah.
That's going to be done, later on a few years from now. And we're going to be looking back at this and arguing about it. Right.
Yes.
I personally felt that there was a lot of unconstitutional things that happened.
Yep.
But my greatest fear was, are people going to break?
Yeah.
Because in hindsight, we're still in the middle of this thing right now, but in hindsight, we shouldn't have been as scared.
No.
Okay, like you saw the whole thing with the toilet paper fucking fiasco.
Oh, dude, don't get me started on that one. Just because somebody said that they wish they had more toilet paper because they had, in reality, a stuffy nose, not running diarrhea.
Right.
All of a sudden, it became a mad dash to get as much toilet paper as possible, and it
was the herd mentality.
Oh my God, yeah.
It was herd mentality, panic. People that haven't been stress inoculated. We're going to say it a million times.
Yeah.
You or I, and most of the people listening to this, where we've been through a lot of stress, we kind of took a step back and looked at things. But my fear was the unknown.
Yeah.
Like, where is this going to go?
Yeah. I was prepared for the zombie apocalypse. I was kind of looking forward to that, but it didn't happen.
Me too.
So I'm still hoping, standing outside my window with my shorts and no shirt on.
It's fucking mutated, and the zombies the vampires are flying around.
Exactly.
But dude, think about it, right? How many times did you think about infrastructure?
Oh, a bunch.
Like,
times.
We were all sitting here. We're in not giving too much info. We're somewhat preppers, right?
Yes.
But I was thinking about infrastructure first thing. I'm like, what the fuck is going to happen when the power goes out? If the power goes out.
Yep.
Like, the reason why is we've gone through training. We've done a lot of things with this without giving info out.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of things with this.
Yeah.
And we've seen the worst case scenarios.
Well, you remember Ebola. Oh my God.
Yeah.
SWAT teams were actually training to deal with an Ebola patient barricade.
Right.
That refused. I couldn't believe it. I never thought I would have to don a friggin' Ebola suit with duct tape and everything to train that way.
The one thing what eased my mind during the whole Ebola thing was we had a bunch of medical people that came and talked to us and helped us and said that the thing that we have as an advantage with Ebola is that it's so deadly.
Yeah.
It doesn't have enough time to spread. I mean, it does spread, but it doesn't have enough time to go through. If it mutates, then we have a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And then we're not joking about zombies.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But when I started seeing this whole COVID thing start to, I don't want to say level out because there's still a lot of people dying and whatever. It wasn't as deadly as it was.
Yeah.
I was one of the first proponents to say, lock everything down.
Yeah.
Everybody stay home.
Yeah.
And then when things started changing, I was like, I don't know.
Well,
No.
it was the liquor stores that got me like, really?
That's what made you change your mind?
That's what made me change my mind because, again, like we've gone through training. We've seen some bad stuff and stuff like that. And here's the thing. In 2009, we went through H1N1. The swine flu,
right?
All these other deadly diseases, and it wasn't to this level.
Yeah,
H1N1 still took out a lot of people.
Yeah,
same, swine, bird flu. I mean, Jesus, we had all the animal flus, I think, for a little while. But what made me again to all of a sudden kind of flip my mind was the whole liquor stores thing. So you're telling me it's safer to stand in line at a liquor store than it is to stay home with a deadly virus that's out there.
It's the same concept as the whole mom and pop stores being closed and then the Home Depots staying open.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. So again, this is from a perspective of cops. And, so as we've been driving around as cops and dealing with situations, every day felt like an early Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Not a car in sight. Jesus, I made it to the airport one day from here to the airport in like 25 minutes.
How creeped out were you?
Oh, I was very creeped out.
I was creeped out every day driving home.
Yeah, it was weird. Especially if I work late night and it's like no one's on the road.
Yep.
It was creepy. And as a plainclothes detective that kind of involved in a lot of narcotic cases and some high profile cases, it was very difficult for us to conduct any sort of surveillance operation against wanted felons because we're the only ones out there, So when there's a bad guy driving around and there's a train of cars behind him, it's kind of stand out.
Obvious.
It's obvious what that is. So if you thought for a second that people with bad intentions care anything about the pandemic, go lock yourself in, I don't know, in a small closet somewhere and just stay away from me. It's
sad to say that a lot of people have locked themselves in a fucking closet.
I know. It's kind of like the same thing with anything else. I mean, bad guys could care less about gun control. They could care less about like they don't care. And now we had this pandemic go on. Crime was starting to go up. Bad guys were emboldened because now we had the death of George Floyd.
Right smack
in the middle of it. And they used that to further the criminal enterprises. They weren't doing what they did or protesting or whatever just to with their George Floyd in mind and police reform, whatever. Oh no, they were out there for a completely different reason.
They found it as an opportunity.
Yeah, it was a very good opportunity for them to go do whatever they got to do. And again, I'm not talking about those the protesters. I'm not talking about protesters. I'm talking about those that are conducting riots, insurgencies.
The insurgents, yeah.
And committing some really huge crimes that we're dealing with. And that, unfortunately, I feel that we took a step back as a result because we were shut down. Now we're playing catch up.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're like, oh shit, this whole thing, fell apart. And part of it, I mean, when the court system closed, we're like, holy shit.
What's going to happen now?
So now we can make arrests because under our Constitution, you have the right to a speedy trial, which means when you get arrested, the next thing you need is court as soon as possible.
Yep.
The very next business day is you go to court. That's the rules. That's in the Constitution. You have that right. Everyone has that right. So when courts shut down, we can't make arrests. I mean, so guess what happened? Crime went up. Shootings, robberies. People knew that.
Absolutely.
They knew that courts were closed. Now there was it was almost a free-for-all.
A free-for-all.
And I don't know what politicians were thinking when they set these rules in place. Like, I get to limit the spread and all that stuff, but when you shut down really essential stuff like courts, that are needed to be open and stuff like that, bad guys with bad intentions are going to do what they do.
So my thinking on that was they had good intentions.
No, they did.
I'm not saying that these politicians were like, let's fuck everybody, right? They had good intentions. They just didn't do their due diligence.
No, they didn't.
They didn't, and by due diligence, I mean they didn't ask the Guardians and the Warriors, how do we do this?
Yeah.
There was some schmuck that's been, quote unquote, educated in social theory,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That said, well, I'm an expert in this, and this is how we should do it.
You know, it's funny. If you think about a lot of things that we deal with as cops out on the road, has any politicians ever really talked to us about any law that they're about to put together?
No.
I mean, I don't know. In your city, I don't know. Like, I know in my city, I don't think so.
They know better.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. They know better.
They think they know better.
Well, and they don't want to hear the truth. Again, it's one of those like Jack Nicholson thing, you know. Yeah. You can't handle the truth, you know. So they don't want to hear it. And same thing with COVID, you know. Again, it wasn't bad intentions on their part. We understand, but like you said, they didn't do the due diligence to ask first. Like, hey guys, what do you think if we shut this down? Well, you know what? Let's figure it out.
And I'm going to say it. They panicked.
Oh yeah, it was a complete panic. We're shutting down everything except for liquor stores because we need our booze
and Starbucks
and Starbucks because we need our coffee. So it's you know, once court closed, all of a sudden now you have district attorneys across the country starting to release prisoners due to COVID-19. Now I understand some of them, some of the DAs were very clear on who they're allowing to leave prison under conditions. You know, minor offenses,
minor shit.
Yeah, really, really minor shit. But what did we see in our neck of the woods? More hardened people that were being frickin' released, and all of a sudden we started getting witnesses get targeted by these individuals because they have a trial coming up. They were released. They had a GPS on their ankle, like they could really care less, and they were out there basically exacting revenge, taking over their territories again. Yeah, you know, gang shootings, everything skyrocketed. Yep. So again, we weren't consulted. I remember one of the district attorneys from our area said that, listen, I'm not releasing people. These people are here.
Did he really?
Yes, these people are here for a reason.
Wow.
You know, so that was very good. And he had no problem, again, releasing the very minor offenses, like somebody first time shoplifted, okay. Right. You know, like whatever, you know, minor crimes, whatever. But when you're talking about these massive drug traffickers, domestic violence victim, or suspects. You know,
I'm not going to say the city, but it was the first time where I gave him props. He actually went against what the city's district attorney was doing, that bullshit of letting people go. Yeah. But I'm not saying he did it wrong. And it was after a few shootings.
Yes.
It was like multiple shootings.
It took a little bit.
It took a little bit, which I get it. It's it's a little bit of a political thing that he had to do, but he actually did it. And he came out and was like, this shit needs to stop.
Yes.
But they didn't listen.
No, they didn't.
It didn't matter.
So we had to play catch up. So, you know, a quick thing with my SWAT team, we ended up arresting a very dangerous individual. This individual was an enforcer for a gang. His sole job was to go out there, do drive-by shootings, whatever. Just, he's an enforcer.
It's kind of like me at night.
Yeah. So he was already connected to numerous shootings. And this individual was one of the COVID-19 releases. He had a bracelet on his ankle, and he went right back into doing what he was doing.
Let him out.
Exactly. And you know, shootings, drug dealings, they tied certain shootings to his GPS bracelet because he was at that location. You know, so
this is after COVID release.
This is after COVID release. So we had to go back in there, and again, that's why I said now law enforcement's playing catch up. We had to go in there to grab him, and again, this was after, you know, the George Floyd incident. And I remember one of the cops told the team to be careful because a certain district attorney is looking to jam a cop up. So it's now you have that stress on top of going after a very dangerous individual. And here's the thing. So am I going to allow myself to get shot or my teammates get shot?
Fuck no.
You know, like, because what? Because a district attorney has their own agenda that doesn't make any sense with a false narrative. That's not the way I was brought up. That's not the way I was trained, especially in the military. I wasn't trained that way. And you know, when we made entry, this individual went for his gun.
You get into really good detail on this.
I mean, he went for his gun. And I had a massive rifle shield. They weigh about 40, 50 pounds. They're not fun to carry around.
They get heavier as the clock fucking ticks.
If you guys, you know, think adrenaline will help you, it doesn't. It's only a small burst. Yeah. Just enough, and then that's it. Then it feels like a dead weight. But you know, so I was number one through the door with the shield. The individual went and reached for his bed, and laying there was a Glock.
And you didn't shoot him.
No, he surrendered as soon as he realized I had him.
You were good.
Yeah.
Even reaching for the gun. You didn't even need it in his hand.
No, I didn't even need it in his hand. He was. I knew what his intent was.
His intent was.
I mean, we announced. Now, before you get into, did you announce you were police? What did you knock and announce? He may not have known you. No, trust me, he knew exactly who he.
I'm sure that they knew that it was announced, and the fucking tanks coming through the door with the words "police" written all over them.
Yeah. So let's think about it. Could I have discharged my firearm? 100%. Yeah. By law, absolutely. The individual was going for a handgun. It would put myself and my team in imminent danger, but I did not need to. By law, would have been justified.
Right.
But to my morals, I wasn't justified. Like, he gave up. I knew he gave up.
But that was a split-second decision that you made.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally a split-second decision I made.
Right.
And it was. Again, it comes with to me, it comes with conditioning and training and kind of being exposed to these things all the time since my young adulthood of the military, leading me up to here. But that's, again, you take a young, brand new cop, a year, 2 year on the job, and you send them into a situation like that. Oh, he would have shot.
I'm 50-50 on that.
More likely to
more
shoot.
likely, yeah.
More likely. I'll say more likely to shoot. Because of the lack of training and experience. And I learned today that at police academies, they're no longer teaching the rifle. I have an issue with that. That's no longer part of the academy curriculum.
I'll put it to you this way, and I don't know how your academy was. I didn't touch a rifle until I went to SWAT. There were no patrol, and we're talking a big city.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
There were no patrol rifles.
Yep.
There were, but there were specialized units that I later got onto that had them. But I never touched a rifle. Thank God that I was proficient at it.
Yeah.
I was really good at it. But I never touched one.
Yeah. See, I have a problem with that. Like, my academy, we had the rifle when I went through because there's a lot of other cities and towns that are in this academy.
In there. Okay. Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
They have rifles and shotguns and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, thank God, the military, I'm very comfortable with a rifle. Not a big deal. I did my thing, but they're not even doing a familiarization of the rifle.
See,
they're just sending people, so like my city department, every patrol car gets a rifle. Every patrolman who goes out there gets a rifle.
That's amazing.
And now you had patrolmen who had no idea how to use this rifle because they didn't want to grab it because they weren't technically qualified or trained on it.
Which I can see not wanting to.
Exactly. And they were very uncomfortable at the range during shooting.
Yeah.
So I saw that, and it's like, oh my God, like, again, before I get too sidetracked, but
we're already off the fucking rails.
I know. Sorry, guys, it's ADD. I think every episode we start somewhere and we end up freaking out in left field somewhere. But that training though that I've had and that experience, it all kind of came down to these decisions. And one thing people don't realize, it is a millisecond of a decision that is life or death.
You're 100% right. But think about it. And for the politicians that are being forced to listen to this podcast,
I hope,
which we know there's been a few, but we won't get into detail. But you got to realize, for somebody like Ayman or me, who had that millisecond to make a decision that, thank God, was the right decision.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that if you pulled the trigger, it was the wrong decision.
No,
but you made the right decision, right? With all that experience and all that training, then next step, you get into the new guy that's had just a little bit of experience, and it's more likely than not that he would have shot.
Yeah.
Then you have district attorneys that have never been in a stressful fucking situation in their lives that think they're going to that you should have made a decision differently than what you did.
Yeah.
And then let's go down the other route, the politicians.
Yeah.
That get fucking chauffeured to work.
Yeah. With armed, some of them.
With armed people.
Armed people, yeah.
That are going to think that they know better than you or I going through that door.
It's sad, So,
it is sad.
So, in less than a second, let's go back into this. So we arrest him, and he was part of the COVID-19 release program. I'll just call it that because that's what it was. Like, we don't want to keep you around because of COVID.
We're going to label it C19RP.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of people like this felon took full advantage of it. And now let's get into the riots. Oh my God. Okay. So the riots, or should I say peaceful protests? Because that's kind of like the way to say it, right? Peaceful protests.
Well, it depends on what you want to get away with.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to get away with not abiding by quarantine,
yeah, exactly,
and social distancing and all that, you can call it a peaceful protest.
Well, what's funny, I'll get into it in a little while because I got a good story for that one. So again, my whole thing is when you throw Molotov cocktails, IEDs at cops, and try to injure and destroy property, combine all of that together, you have an insurgency.
Yes.
I've seen insurgencies. I've dealt with insurgencies overseas. They're not any different than except overseas, it was a lot of AKs too.
Yeah.
But over here, that's what's going on.
And the landscape was different.
Yeah, landscape was different. There's a lot of sand. So even with this lockdown talk by our fearless politicians, they stated that, with the riots, they can't infringe on an individual's right to free speech, but then you can't go to church.
Yeah, so you can't interfere with free speech, but you can interfere with this right.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
You can't pick and choose, in the Constitution what you're going to enforce and what you're not going to enforce. Like that's not the Constitution.
That's not the Constitution,
no,
exactly.
The Constitution says it very clear. It's very clear.
You know what bothered me with a lot of that shit with the I know better crowd?
Yeah.
I'm talking the politicians, the lawmakers, all these people that they knew better.
Yeah.
But they fucking didn't.
No.
And they let people had to. It was sad to see it, man. They couldn't go to church where church was a huge thing in their lives.
Oh yeah.
They couldn't bury their family members.
Nope, they weren't allowed to.
But here's the thing: a lot of people would call me and ask me for my opinion. Should I go do this? Should I go do that? And my answer was always yes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not the.
Why are you asking me?
I'm not the virus police.
But people were conditioned to believe that I was going to do something about it.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking not.
Well, here's the thing. Like people have said before to us is that badge and that uniform to us. Now we're a government official. Therefore, now we know. That doesn't work that way.
Right.
That's just not the way it is. I mean, you were making mention that if we call it a peaceful protest, then you're allowed to not social distance and whatever. So, we had the officer who died maybe over a year or so ago. It's the one with the rock that got thrown at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about a little over a year.
Can we say the name?
Yeah.
Chesna.
Yeah, Chesna. Yep. So there was, he got promoted sergeant
posthumously.
Yeah. Well, I got to stop drinking. All right. So they wanted to do they as in a foundation wanted to do a motorcycle rally to help raise money for the officer's family because it's
the right thing to do.
Right thing to do, and it's a trying time for the family and stuff like that. So the group was denied a permit. They couldn't do a motorcycle rally.
What? I don't remember that.
Because I follow them on Facebook,
okay.
and just reading it is like, really? So they were denied that because the protest. Because what they ended up doing was scrapping the whole fundraiser, what they called it as a fundraiser, called it a protest to back the blue.
Oh, perfect.
And they were given permits.
But these people are mourning somebody's fucking death, dude.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's like, really? So because now they call the motorcycle rally fundraiser, what have you, back the blue, and it's a peaceful protest, therefore now you're allowed. But raising money, doing a motorcycle rally for a fallen officer's family, not allowed.
It's straight the level of fucking denseness in people's heads strikes me so bad every day.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I think about it, and it's like So again, we take totality of circumstances, everything, lump it all together. COVID-19, the whole thing that happened, all these rules that got put in place. I mean, a rational person would eventually get to like, what the fuck's going on?
Well, that's the key word, rational.
Yeah, that's why I said
all rationale and reasonability has gone out the fucking window.
Yeah, no, big time. I agree.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, here's the thing: when we're getting 911 calls because this guy isn't wearing his mask, this girl isn't wearing her mask, that's not our job.
Again, it's our job as first responders and as guardians to help people, right?
Yes.
It's not our job to, like, again, when people would call me and say, can I take a ride out of state? And I would say, yes,
Yeah.
take a ride out of state.
Yeah.
And they would say, well, what if we get stopped? And I said, you're not going to get stopped
No.
by anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, they have no basis for the stop just
No.
because you're from an out of state.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like these people didn't want to go party out of state. They wanted
Yeah.
to go like take a ride, see some
go up to
scenery,
go up north. I mean,
turn
enjoy
around
it.
and come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
They weren't going to a fucking 1,000-person wedding.
No.
Even in my eyes, that would have been fine.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, but what struck me wasn't the detail of what they were trying to do. It was the fact that they were fucking scared.
Yeah. I have family members that are from out of state that would call me because they're flying in and they're scared there's a checkpoint at the airport. Like there's no checkpoint. Just come on, don't worry about it. You good to go.
We were talking about it the other day. What actually happened is so different than the perceived outcomes. Right? People thought that there was going to be this magic military machine that was going to, you know what I mean? That was going to be working and people were going to be in lockdown and there was going to be
martial
law and
shit.
people, the cops, papers, please. Right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
No, because of people like us that wouldn't allow that.
Yeah.
Because I don't care even if fucking legislation did pass.
No, that's unconstitutional. Like,
right.
Well, how many governors have we seen across the country that come up with these bogus rules? And you know, I've seen emails from various police leaders saying, no, that's not our job. We will not infringe on people's individual rights.
Right. So you know what? You want to enforce this bullshit, create a unit.
Yeah.
Give it statutory authority to fucking enforce these things. Good luck with that.
Please, good luck. Good luck. Yeah. Good luck. Because that's how you well, and what's funny is these rules started getting set in place, especially after what happened with George Floyd. Now all of a sudden they're like, well, law enforcement will pull you over and issue a $500 ticket for each day you do not quarantine. Like,
I want to know if whoever's listening, I want to know if you've done that.
Yeah.
We're not going to say you're a bad cop or anything like that. Maybe you, for some reason, decided
could have been forced.
Right.
You know?
But I want to know. I want to see actual stats.
Yeah. I'd like to see that
because
myself.
Personally, I think that 98% of law enforcement out there looked at all these bullshit, quote unquote, rules, we're not going to call them laws, and said, fuck you.
Yeah, no.
We're not stopping mom and dad driving across the border to New Hampshire so their kids can see trees.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we're not going to ask you how many people are over your house for Christmas.
No, it's funny. That was one of the calls I got over Thanksgiving. My own mother called me.
Me too.
And she's like, are police going to pull up to houses and count cars? I'm like, no.
My mother asked me, what are you going to do if the police knocks on your door and we're all in your house? And it was like, we're not going to get into the response, but it bothered me.
Yeah.
I was like, this woman, and they come from a culture that was completely socialist.
Well, I mean, same thing with my mom,
right.
You know, being from Lebanon, they were truly concerned that the government was going to be like the government over there.
Yeah.
You know, and
they're going to break in the door.
Yeah, and you know, warrantless searches and take everyone, black bag everyone and take them away. I was like, no, it doesn't happen that way over here.
I don't know, man. It bothers me because our families have spent enough time in this country to realize that it's different.
Yeah,
right?
Oh yeah.
But it bothers me that it got to that point.
Yeah.
It bothered me where it got to the point where little kids couldn't see their friends.
Yeah.
And like in my young ones, both of my kids, their vocabulary, they talk about COVID.
Yeah. That's my kid, same thing.
And it's scary.
Is Corona still out there, Dad?
Right.
Yes, it is. And you know, yeah.
And of course, you always want what's best for your kid, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of if we believe in this stuff or not.
Yeah.
They're washing their hands.
Yeah.
We're keeping the social distancing. We're trying to do everything within. Here's the big word.
Yeah.
Big fucking word that the government should have realized. Ready? Reasonable.
Ooh. Come on, reasonable? It's government. There's no such thing as
There's
reasonable.
no such thing. But again, after we realized that it wasn't the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
It wasn't people falling over.
I'm still disappointed.
I am fucking really disappointed, dude, because do you ever see that meme where there was a dude, I think I sent it to you. He was standing at his window with his hand on the window.
There's no vampires, there's no zombies, there's not
bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Bullshit pandemic.
Oh.
No, we get it. We're not trying to say that there wasn't loss of life.
Yeah, no,
right?
There was.
But let's get into the other fucking tinfoil conspiracy on that. Ready?
Yeah.
How much loss of life, Ayman?
Oh, not as much as was first reported.
I think the numbers are so fucking off that if it actually got out there, people would revolt. Call me crazy.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
You do.
I agree. I mean, you and I both know in certain jobs and profession, just labeling something as COVID gives you money.
Gives you money. That's not a conspiracy.
That's not a conspiracy. It's actually happening. True. Yeah, it's a true thing.
So I've heard, we're not going to give his information out, but this gentleman, this officer told me of 2 circumstances where he had, we call them suddens in the Northeast.
Yeah.
They're basically dead people.
Yeah, sudden deaths.
Sudden deaths.
Yep.
He had 2 circumstances where there was a sudden.
Yep.
And the person was, the medical examiner denied the body.
Yep.
There was no autopsy done, but the family was advised that it was COVID.
How do they know?
That's my point.
Yeah,
right?
No, I know.
My point is that's one officer out of close to 1 million out there. How many more have had those experiences?
Yeah. I mean, that's part of a running joke, you know. Again, we have a dark sense of humor. So we had a homicide during COVID, and we were joking around that, they're probably going to label it as COVID.
Yeah, the car accident, the homicide. COVID, done.
You know, so it's the running joke. Again, we have a dark sense of humor, and that's just kind of things that we say. But if you want to think like from a law enforcement perspective, I guess you want to call us like the eyes of what society is like.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like we call it as it is.
But we're looking at it. Tell me if I'm wrong. We look at things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Like we go to a scene, we kind of do, I call it the eagle. We kind of fly over it. We're looking down at everything. We're assessing everything about it.
Yep.
So when all this shit started happening, we were using those same tactics.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking at everything and we're like, what?
Yeah.
This is bullshit.
I mean, as cops, we're fact checkers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no matter, like if you want to meet like an ultimate fact checker, go to a cop and tell him something, and he or she will probably cite 10 million articles and books that they've read to counter whatever you just said.
And if they can't, they're going to look it up, and it's going to bother them until they fucking get to the bottom of it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So at what point do we start saying, hey, we haven't been kind of told the truth about everything going on?
Yeah.
Because now we're coming into a point where guys like you and me, regardless of what your opinion may be on the vaccine, but we might get forced into getting it.
Yeah, that's here's the thing. When I was in the Army, we are forced to get vaccines. That's
different circumstance, dude.
Exactly. Different circumstances. We are the property of the government.
Yeah, exactly.
As a soldier, you know, as a Marine or coastie or seaman. And I like saying that every time I say that. Yes, I'm juvenile.
You got something you want to tell me, dude?
I'm juvenile. Yep. Every time you say poo, I laugh. See?
Stop.
So, anyways, it became like it dumbfounds me. You know, it really dumbfounds me on how people's thoughts and how they rationalize things. Just, you know, with the vaccine, why as an American citizen are you going to get forced to a vaccine? You're not in the military.
No.
You're not getting ready to go to Iraq or Africa or wherever where you got to get certain malaria pills. And by the way, those malaria tablets were the worst thing that I've ever talk about night terrors.
Really?
Oh, dude, they were horrible. Look it up and you'll see how many issues that they've had with that. So when they first came out with COVID about taking some
hydrochloroquine, whatever it is.
Every veteran probably screamed at their TV and said no.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't take it.
No shit.
Oh yeah, no, it was bad. But you know, in the military again, we're forced. Like I had to get a flu shot every year, and it is what it is. That's the military. That's just the way it is. You're property of the government, whatever. But as a private citizen, being forced to get a vaccine, which I feel they are gonna, by way of, well, you can't come to work, or
unless you take it. You can't travel unless you take it.
Exactly. So there's going to be some rules set in place that you're going to have to take it.
I'm sorry, dude, but what bothers me about all this is they keep saying with the vaccines and all that shit is that they're gonna, and you've heard this before, they make it a public health exception, or a community caretaking exception.
Well, that's their
rationale.
Rationale,
which is bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
And I'll be the first one to tell you, right? If people were dropping dead
Yeah.
If this was the zombie apocalypse, if people were dropping dead and kids were fucking screaming in their homes every day, I would say everybody go out and get the fucking vaccine.
Exactly.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can't tell me that with this vaccine, there's not going to be any side effects.
But science said it didn't.
Yeah, exactly. I'll believe it when I take the vaccine and I got all of a sudden 13 fingers somehow. We'll circle back to that. But again, we're not scientists. Right. Again, we're making light of shit. But in reality, why does it have to be? You have to do this, or you're not going to be able to do this. It's like really, are we kids?
Where you say it in your article, dude, my job is to uphold and defend the Constitution, not use my power to infringe on an individual's rights.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Pretty simple.
We're upholding your constitutional rights.
Yeah. That's something that got beaten into us as soldiers. That's something that got beaten into us as cops.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, you will always have bad actors within the profession. It sucks, and we try to deal with them before they get too bad. But most cops are there to protect your individual rights.
Yeah.
And it's that simple.
Another good paragraph you have here. COVID-19 has brought out people's stupidity.
Oh, we talked about the toilet thing.
Yeah. As well as their resilience to adapt and overcome the situation.
Oh, yeah.
Some people did not allow a virus to stop them from living. Amen.
Yep.
Or should I say a woman too? Did you hear that bullshit?
I did. Don't even get me started.
While others were scared.
New article coming soon. Amen and a woman
a
now.
Woman.
You got to be gender neutral to a word in Latin. That means, what does it mean?
So let it be done or something?
So let it be done. Yeah, that's the Latin name. Oh, my God. God help us.
So some people did not allow a virus to stop them from living, while others were so scared they refused to leave their houses.
Oh, yeah. I know friends that their significant others refuse to leave houses. They get groceries delivered. Now, again, first world problems. I love it. You get
exactly.
Groceries delivered. Back in my country, my family's country, they have to go to the grocery store. They have to walk.
Right.
Groceries aren't getting delivered to them.
Yeah.
They're still going to the grocery store. And it's like, you can't, it's like first world problems. You get delivered, but what they're doing, they're using sanitizer spray on all the bags because the delivery guy, or gal had them in their hands.
You know what I called COVID-19? Yeah. I called it the cul-de-sac virus.
Oh, yeah.
Every time one of my neighbors or friends or something like that would say, it's so bad, I'd say, my kids are eating fucking Oreos. Yeah. It's not bad.
No. If you want to see famine and real bad situations, go to a third world country where people can barely get water. Clean water.
Yeah, we're in a country where still our toilet water
still runs,
and our toilet water in prisons is better than fucking most other countries' water.
Oh, yeah.
Normally.
Yes. That's 100% true.
This wasn't the quote-unquote evil pandemic. I get it. It's bad. People die. We should be careful. Yep. I get it. I agree. But it wasn't bad.
No,
I'm sorry.
Again, we saw it firsthand on what it was like. Some areas, yes, got it worse than others. But again, the original numbers we were given, surprise, surprise, were wrong. The initial information, I get it. The information was not trusted as much because it came from obviously China. So you can't really trust every single little thing they say because there was a lot of shadowy parts to the story, like what really went on. Now we know it did come from the Wuhan lab. Right. Now we know it came from there, but what else?
Here's something that came up the other day on New Year's Day. New Year's Eve, people were sending me pictures of Wuhan, and everybody was gathered together.
Yeah.
Having a blast, doing all that. And New York City and all our cities, it was a ghost town.
Yeah.
Right. And somebody had said to me, I was talking about it with work, and somebody said, well, they got the COVID before we did. And I said, 2 months?
Yeah, no.
2 months is what made it all go away? Really?
Yeah, no. Sorry.
Give me a break.
Yeah, sorry. It's truly sad, kind of, from our perspective, how backwards we've become.
Yes.
Again, as law enforcement, we're trying to play catch up. George Floyd didn't help it. Now we always say we're back 30 years. As a result of a lot of these politicians and police reform and all that stuff that is occurring now, it's setting us back. People don't realize that some of these new reform laws are going to hurt the public
Big time.
more than help.
Big time.
Because some of the rules and some of the stuff, it's stuff that I will never. Here's one. Here's a good one for you. So if I'm driving around and I'm about to pull somebody over, if it's a person of color, I can no longer put in suspicious behavior.
Why?
Because apparently people of color are the only ones that have suspicious behavior.
What are you talking about?
I read that, and it was a legal brief done by one of police trainers, lawyers, and he sent it out. And I'm reading it. I had to read it several times. I'm like, are you serious? I mean, isn't that statement right there racist all on its own?
Oh, you're saying he didn't make that. He was just telling us what came. Okay,
yeah, what came out. No, he didn't make. Yeah, it just wasn't.
I was about to call him.
Oh no! Trust me. Yeah, well, we know him very well. He's not that type, but he was given a quick Cliff Notes version of what's coming.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, so I had to read it a dozen times because I'm like, really? So we can't use certain words anymore because they're associated with people of color. Like, isn't that statement racist all on its own?
You know what just popped into my head? You're right, but you know what just popped into my head? So people have been, they're not desensitized. They've been completely scared to fucking death over COVID.
Yeah.
Right? They've been separated.
Yep.
Into two different groups of people.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Their pockets have been hurt.
Yep.
People are starting to get hungry. What does this remind you of? Socialism.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like the Marxist fucking playbook. And I'm not trying to sound all tinfoil and conspiracy and this and that.
Why are you wearing a tinfoil, by the way?
Right. Protects my hairline.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to tie it into the problems that we have in policing and what's coming down the line.
Yes. I mean, it's they're again as fact checkers.
Yeah.
You know, we research history, we love history, and we see what's going on.
Well, that's why I get emotional about it, right?
Yeah.
It's the whole if you're not aware of your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Oh my God, yeah. That's why again we can get a whole different subject on that one. But history teaches us what has been done in the past. History teaches us what not to do because it was done in the past.
Right.
And I think politicians and certain officials have become so arrogant. I'll use that word, arrogant, because it will never happen here.
Yes.
You know, and it's like you are living in a tiny bubble. I mean, my favorite is I go to an affluent neighborhood in my city, and they're surprised that the car got broken into.
Oh, my God.
That never happens here.
Right.
Like, really?
It happens everywhere, lady.
Happens everywhere.
Right. That kills us a little bit. That never happened here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or it can't happen. Or it brings you back. It's tied into what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it brings you back to the 2008 bloodbath in the economy.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Here's my points. In 2008, to avoid a world collapse, people had no idea how close we actually came to having tanks on the fucking street.
Yeah, it was bad.
We had to generate $400 billion.
Yeah.
Remember that number?
Yep.
How much have we had to generate now on a pandemic that we don't know has actually been a pandemic?
Billions.
Trillions.
Okay.
Where that 400 billion is nothing in comparison.
Yeah.
So now you're taking that, you're putting such a stress on the economy.
Yep.
You're stressing the shit out of our infrastructure.
Yep.
You're calling to defund the police.
Yep.
Because apparently we make too much money.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when there's a real pandemic?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. No,
I agree. And what's going to happen to police services who are now defunded? We're gassed out because of all this COVID bullshit.
Yep.
We're scared to death of all that stuff.
Yeah. Who are also gassed out from all the protests and the riots.
The protests, the riot, everything. What I'm trying to say is like this big fucking bowl of soup that we got going on is going to hurt us in ways that we haven't realized yet.
Oh, well, we realize it as first responders, as frontline workers. We realize it, but I don't think a lot of other people do realize it.
Well, it can't happen here.
Yeah, exactly. Can't happen here. We will never go that way. Like, So to kind of concluding where we're at in the article. So I said, for us in the military first responder community, we do not have a choice. I've gone into homes where disease was everywhere, and that means we don't have a choice on where we go. We get a call or we get a crime, we go. I've been in houses, I'm sure you have, flu, MRSA, alphabet of hepatitis, numerous other diseases, like, shit that would make people puke in reality if they realize what we go into.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. And sure, some of them, some of these diseases we won't get infected with, but the point is we still go. To us, it doesn't matter.
I gave CPR on a person in the fucking smack middle of COVID.
Yeah.
I gave CPR to the person. Full-blown fucking CPR on this person.
Yep.
It did not matter.
No.
I didn't care.
It really doesn't. And kind of the way I summed it up is to us, first responders to law enforcement, the line between order and chaos is a thin blue line.
Well, people don't realize that.
No. Well, thin blue line is now racist, apparently. It's white supremacy. Yeah. So it's that's all it is. It's that thin line that's standing between there. And trust me, that line is so thin. We see it now in Seattle, Portland, California, certain areas in California. That line over there is so thin.
It's breaking down.
It's breaking. Yeah, it's literally breaking down.
How many guys do you know that one of the first things they think about every day is, how do I get out of this profession?
Yeah, I know plenty.
I've done it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, plenty of really good, solid cops.
Right.
Now, you're talking pure, awesome guys and gals that do the job right. They're thinking of leaving. And what you're going to get left with is the scraps and people you really don't want cops. You are going to be left with that 80% I always talk about that will not do the work.
Yep.
That 20% that will go away, society's going to feel it.
I'm telling you right now, you're going to think I'm fucking crazy, but if we get another, I don't want to say it, another nail in the coffin, another thing to throw into the fucking bowl of soup, it's going to turn into a Mad Max fucking situation.
Yeah. Hey, I got my equipment ready. I'm ready for Mad Max, dude. I'm ready.
Right?
Oh, yeah. No, I agree.
What is this? All of everything, this bowl of shit, this bowl of soup that's happened to us in the last year of 2020.
Yep.
Right? Where, like, my old school dad asked me, because he was petrified about the whole quarantine thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, why can't you guys go tell these protesters to go home because they're spreading coronavirus? He didn't get it.
Yeah.
He's old. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
they're too busy throwing shit and piss at us and IEDs and, they don't want to listen. It's like, yeah, okay. Again, bad people, bad actors could care less.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, it's been an awesome episode. I think we're going to be doing a couple of really good episodes coming up.
Yes.
The stats have been awesome. Special thanks to Havoc Journal, Live Boston 617, Gym Junkies. We're going to see you next time. Say bye, Ayman.
See ya.